Hello everyone, my name is Nympha and I'm back with another video about working here as an EFL teacher in Vietnam. For today's video, I'm going to answer some of the frequently asked questions about working here, and so let's get started. Question number 1. Can I get hired even if I don't have an education or English language teaching degree? Absolutely. I have colleagues here who are IT specialists, engineers. They finished like a marketing course in college and they're all working here. So definitely, yes, there might just be some, requirements. So you might be required to submit an English proficiency certificate such as IELTS or FSAT or any Cambridge tests that would assess your English language skills. And second, you might be asked also to submit a teaching certificate. So this may include like TESOL certificate or teaching English to speakers of other languages. So this is to prove that you can teach English. So that's it basically, and you'll be able to get your work permit by then. Question number 2, how do I apply? So how do we get started? I would personally recommend asking from friends. You can absolutely search for these companies online. However, it might be different. What they put out there might be different from the real working conditions. So it is best to ask your trusted friends. But of course, if you don't have any friends here, you can definitely check out Facebook pages. These Facebook pages have been so helpful to me when I started. You could see a lot of job postings there. You can also check out some comments or feedback from expats. So it's some sort of a close group community of expats here in Vietnam. So you could search that, look up English teaching in Vietnam, English teachers in Vietnam. There's even an exclusive group for Filipino English teachers here in Vietnam. So you might check on that. And the third way to apply is to search the top universities, institutions, international schools in Vietnam. So you could just look that up on Google and then try to check their website. So if these institutions have been established, they most definitely have a website where you can check their information. And from there, they also have like a page where you could apply directly to them. So in this case, you don't really need to have an agent. I remembered a friend asked me if she needs to, apply through an agent so that she can teach here, and definitely not. We don't need an agent here. You can apply yourselves. Next question, can I apply even if I'm not in Vietnam yet? Well, good question. The answer for that is yes. There are even some companies that could sponsor your tickets. Now, this is for, huge or big institutions, international schools. If they really need a teacher, they could sponsor your business visa so they can get in here. Or if you already have the complete documents, they can even process the work permit for you before you even come here. So how great is that? Now that probably you have an idea of how to apply, let's get into the requirements. So what do we need? Or what does your company need from you? So they would initially ask for your diploma as a sort of proof that you graduated from a bachelor's degree. So this must be authenticated in your country before you submit it to them. So it would include a diploma, and attached would probably be your TOR. They could also ask for any supplementary requirements. If you didn't have an education degree in college, then they could ask for a TESOL certificate or teaching certificate and an English proficiency certificate. So better be ready with that. And after that, once you have those initial requirements for your company to process your work permit, they would ask for your police clearance and your medical, which should be done here. So that easy. I actually have made a separate video discussing the processes of authenticating these documents. Next question, can I work on a tourist visa? That is actually a tricky question, but the legal answer to that is no, absolutely not. You cannot work on a tourist visa. Otherwise, you might be penalized, you might be blacklisted. That's the worst case scenario already. Or you can pay fines, like to the immigration. So we don't want to do that, and we don't want that to happen to us. So also, it is so much easy to get a business visa. So why would you work on a tourist visa if you can just easily get a business visa? And that would allow you to enter or exit the country while you are waiting for your work permit or TRC to be processed. And it's very simple. You don't even have to do it by yourself. Your company can your company should sponsor you on that. And if your company is really a legit one, they should be able to process that for you hassle-free, all right? Without any problems, as long as you have your documents ready. Next question. This is about workload and teaching hours. There might be different answers to that because, for example, as for me, I'm working in an English center. So usually we start the classes on weekdays at 5:30 or 5:20 p.m. and we finish at around 9:30 p.m. So normally it's just 1.5 or 2 hour class, and you got like 2 classes for a day on weekdays, except if it's like summer, because usually English centers here would have a summer camp where the students would literally sleep and eat in the center, and then you'll be teaching them in the morning, probably 2-3 hours in the morning, and then another 3 hours in the afternoon, and then plus, like on top of that, you still have to work in the evening for your usual regular classes. So normally we are paid here per hour, although you have like a required number of hours per week. If you would go beyond that, like an overtime, you would receive an OT pay. And on weekends, that is when our schedule gets so hectic because we start in the morning. So we got like one class in the morning. For other centers, the centers I used to work with, I actually have 2 classes in the morning. So we start so early at around 7:30 up until 11:30. And so we come back at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's up until 9:30 in my previous company. So like 2 p.m. up until 9:30 p.m. 3 or 4 classes in the afternoon. So that's how bloody the schedule is on weekends in the English centers. But currently in my company, I just finish at around 8 p.m. So I start at 2 p.m. as well, and I finish at around 8. So it's pretty light and I have less workload. Now, most of the time, they also have office work. So this office work could include marketing activities. So you will be going out, you will go to public schools to help, boost the sales of your center. So you can have, like, you're going to be hosting a quiz or a game show. There was even a point when we had to dance, or if you can sing, you can sing. Just whatever, just to market your company. But currently, I don't really do that anymore. Like a marketing team takes care of that, and it's only in special occasions that we get to join them. When we talk about office work, this would include assessing students for like a placement test for them before they enroll. And also it would include like demo classes. So that's when you have like a sample class where all the parents will be sitting and observing you. In total, in a month, the least would be 80 hours to 100 hours. Basically, in a week, you can get like 20 hours. So we get a lot of free time in the morning, so on weekdays. So you can still take a part-time job, moonlighting, if your company allows it. The workload in English centers is quite different from the mainstream curriculum, or I'm talking about regular schools or international schools. So usually they start so early in the morning on weekdays, have three to four classes in the morning, but they have shorter time, like it's around 45 minutes in the morning, and then in the afternoon they'll be back as well for 2 to 3 classes, and they finish at 4 o'clock normally. So they have the usual 8 to 5 job, but they're free all evenings, which means they could also get a part-time job. And what is great about working in these types of schools that you are free on weekends. How awesome is that? So they don't get to work on Saturdays and Sundays. We're down to the next question. Now we're talking about teaching hours and workload. What about the salary range? When I first came here, I think the basic pay, like a usual basic pay, especially for small English centers, was around 1,000 USD to like 1,200 USD. And way before that, in 2018 or 2017, it was still around 800 or 700 USD. But now you can get as much as, for the lowest basic pay could be 1,200 to 1,300 for 100 teaching hours. Now there are schools with huge offers, so you can earn as much as 2,900 USD. This is especially for international schools. And when I came here as well, I noticed that the offers are not the same for native speakers and non-native speakers. So that's the reality, guys, here. But I totally understand why there is like a difference between, the offers that a non-native speaker and a native speaker could get. So it all boils down to, marketing and the kind of clients that they serve. Of course, we have this like stereotype that only a native speaker could best teach someone else English, which is, I totally understand that. And I think they've realized that it's not really how the teacher looks or whether he's a native speaker or not, but the qualifications and the teaching skills that really matter. I have seen like equal offers, equal treatment towards natives and non-native speakers. Okay, next question. What are the levels that you teach? So we have different levels here. They start learning English at a very young age, thus you have to expect that you will have really cute learners, babies. You might also be teaching IELTS. Like after the secondary level, you usually have like a preparation for IELTS, and they already name it or tag it as IELTS classes. So prepare yourself for that, but don't worry, you will get your like a training for that. Next, do they allow part-time work? That depends on the type of contract you're in. But before you engage in part-time work, make sure that you ask permission from your company or from your boss. Which is the best city to live? So there are 2 major cities in Vietnam. It's usually Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. Well, if you prefer the less hustle and bustle, I suggest don't stay in these 2 cities because it could get so congested. The traffic jam is really terrible and you'll be stuck in traffic while commuting to work. If you love the cold weather in December, January, then you should definitely be here in Hanoi. Well, if you want the tropical climate, you should move to Ho Chi Minh. You should stay in Ho Chi Minh. As for me, I haven't really worked in Ho Chi Minh City, so I don't know how it feels to live there. But I have heard some of my friends who have tried working there. It was okay. The people were great, and there are a lot of job opportunities there. There are a lot of English centers and part-time jobs. You could even just work part-time for different companies, and you would earn more or earn a lot. But it has like a higher crime rate. Like you could even lose your phone while on a motorbike if you're using it. So I'm kind of scared to go there and to work there. But I feel like Hanoi is much safer. I've also lived in one of the provinces here in Vietnam that's like six hours from Hanoi. And it was so great as well. It's pretty laid back, but you get all the perks of a city. So everything is accessible. If you are into, going to the beach every now and then, taking a beach break, then you might want to choose Da Nang and Nha Trang. It's more of a tourist spot where you could also live as an expat there. So there are also English centers located in those areas. I've read somewhere that Da Nang is like one of the most livable cities or provinces in Vietnam. So you might want to try it. So it's really up to you. So it depends on your preferences. What's the cost of living? That's one of the best things here in Vietnam, is that the cost of living is really low. So you could get by like for probably $1 a meal. So you could find noodle soup for like $1 or 25,000 dong. That's why it is very ideal to actually live here with your family. I've known a lot of expats who brought their family here. They've like established their lives here already. I'm not sure though if you can be like a citizen here. Probably not. And the last question, is it okay if you can't speak Vietnamese? Absolutely, use Google Translate. That's the shortest answer, because when there's no way that you could understand each other, you could just resort to Google Translate. We all started with a level 0 proficiency in Vietnamese. So when I came here, I didn't know a word. I just knew Xin Chào, and that is hello. And I couldn't even say it right. My struggle in the past was actually going to the market. That's where I actually have honed my skills, char skills. I could understand a little bit of Vietnamese. At least I know how to count, and that was like the basic thing that you need to learn to be able to interact with them, especially when you're going to the markets. And definitely if you have, lived here for quite some time, you'd learn to pick up some of these words as you interact with the locals. So don't worry about it, as long as you have Google Translate, everything will work out fine. And that's it for our video today. If you do have any other questions, just drop them down in a comment section below. Alright, I'll see you the next time. Bye!